Hey everyone, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to Relevant Jukebox, and today we're going to talk about the latest album from Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon Volume 3. So this is the third installment of Kid Cudi's highly influential Man on the Moon series, which, truth be told, had a huge impact on me as a listener back in the day. It feels like a while ago now that Man on the Moon Part 1 dropped when I was back in college, and when that came out, it didn't really sound like anything else out at the time. And to this day, I do have to credit that release for really broadening my music taste and pulling me out of the closed-minded punk and hardcore obsession that I had at the time. And I still love revisiting that album to this day, honestly. Even part 2, which I don't think is as good as the first part, but still pretty great. And this came as kind of a surprise, honestly, with not much promotion for it. But, Cudi was teasing this thing for years, actually. After the second part, this was an idea that was just left on the shelves, maybe. I'm not really quite sure. As he went on multiple different detours in between, all of which were just not even close to the highs that he hit on those two records, in my opinion. It wasn't really until he teamed up with Kanye on Kids See Ghosts that I got excited for a Kid Cudi project. And, even that record didn't really blow me away. So, going into the part 3 of Man on the Moon, I did not have high hopes, honestly. And, leaving it, I'm still sort of scratching my head. It's not terrible or anything like that, but this feels a lot less like the third installment of the Man on the Moon series and more like Kid Cudi trying to grasp at his last chance of relevancy in the modern hip-hop field. Because, this album over here plays out like a very mediocre and generic hip-hop record that's very Travis Scott inspired and just a major step back, in my opinion. And what's completely gone on this album, which is surprising, is all of his wide variety in sounds and genre influences that made the first two parts so creative and influential. Every track on here just sounds exactly the same, which I'm sure some fans will say it's super cohesive and consistent, but for me, it's just boring as hell. Especially when these beats are just not really that special. Because, again, all of those, soaring, catchy choruses are gone as well. Not really much on this album pops. It is just one recycled, hum-sung verse from Kid Cudi after another that just kind of gets stale. And, a lot of the melodies that were written on this project are just lacking a lot of that endearing, starry-eyed, kind of, hopeful quality that they had on the earlier material. It shows up a little bit in here in shades, but this feels more like a Travis Scott vibe. And I know Cudi handled the majority of the production on here with Dot the Genius, who crafted all of those earlier records. But why wasn't Rat-a-Tat introduced on this album, at least on one track maybe? I think that would have been a cool way to throw it back to the first part of the series, considering they had their hand in the most popular tracks, but instead it was just kind of left as a missed opportunity, I think. So yeah, I really don't know what else to say about this project besides that it was a major letdown for me, and I think it's the worst in the whole series. There's a small feature list on here as well, which I think was probably the right move, but none of the features are exciting in any way. Especially Phoebe Bridgers, who is pretty much just a hot name to tack onto this album, as her guest appearance is very brief, very forgettable, and there isn't really much on this project that just sticks out to me, not only as a Kid Cudi project, but just in general. The production's a little spacey and smooth, but And with that being said, I'm feeling a 4 over here on Man on the Moon Part 3. Now, Cudi does have this up on vinyl on his web store. There's also a pretty overpriced picture disc variant as well if you're interested. So I'm going to have links in the description box below if you want to grab a copy. And if you have listened to Man on the Moon Part 3 already, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and share. And if you want more content from me, hit that subscribe button. Peace.